You're listening to the Fast Intentions Podcast. Now here are your hosts, Nathan and Todd.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fast Intentions, episode number 26. I'm your host Nathan, alongside my co-host, who happens to be my father at the same time, and his name is Todd. How you doing, buddy? He gave a thumbs up on the audio podcast, so that's always good. We're sitting here in the studio, aka my bedroom. That's kind of dirty, but that's okay. It's not on video yet. Maybe coming soon. Just to let you know.
Is that a tease?
Could be a tease potentially. Okay, well I don't know what that's all about. But should I spoil the surprise about our recording dates? May as well do it now.
I guess, because when I mentioned it to you the other day, you're like, well.
Well, that's because you had some weird idea. But the plan is to start doing this weekly on Mondays. Monday night we record, and then I would edit it Monday night and post it. So you guys have a weekly Fast Intentions, and you can kind of expect the show on a certain date. Because for now it's been kind of up in the air. I have a weird work schedule, so sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to edit it. And then 3 days later, Dad's like, you edited the podcast yet? And then by the time we do that, everything's already out of date. So we figure we'll try and kind of keep it more consistent.
Well, yeah, more consistent schedule. We can tackle a few more timely issues because when they come up, and because there's been several issues that we've just kind of decided not to talk about because they've occurred right after we record, and then 2 weeks later they're kind of old news. So
and then I think too, I know it's going to be hard to keep up with. There may not be as many things to talk about in a week span, but I think that kind of gives us more creativity to maybe come up with some segments or like some special things we can do. Mm-hmm. I know I listen to podcasts where they'll do like, oh, well, there's nothing to talk about, so let's do like a draft of like these kind of people and kind of have fun or something. I think maybe we could come up with some ideas to do that.
Yeah,
be more creative.
I think there's some topics we can tackle and possibly have do some more interviews. But like Nathan said, we're talking about going live video and recording these and putting actual video out instead of just the audio.
So you see my fat ass talk.
Well, hopefully your ass isn't talking. Hopefully it's your mouth. But yeah, so we have some special things in the works. We're hoping to get a soundboard so we can play a few more sounders. And
well, not a soundboard, a little thingy-mabobby.
But hopefully that'll cut back on some of the editing time, so it'll allow us to get the shows out quicker and a more timely fashion. So we'll probably pick a day to release it, every week. So you'll have a consistent schedule, and you can look for Fast Intentions on your social media platforms, wherever you follow podcasts.
Well, this will help too, because I got a new job, so more consistent. So I can't talk about the onion rings at Don and Millie's anymore, unfortunately. But I could talk about boring insurance stuff. But the point is, I'll be working like 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we'll be more able to coordinate a schedule and have time to do it instead of, well, now I got to come and work early and then I got to work 12 hours and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to edit the podcast. You got to
cover if somebody calls in sick.
Yeah, I just want to sleep. Yeah. So hopefully that will kind of help things out. But as we say, we're going to do this weekly. Next week, we're not going to record because I have WWE tickets on a Monday. So unless we want to record a different day, and post it a different day. So I think kind of the plan is weekly and Mondays, and then we can always post it to Twitter. Hey, this is going on or this is going on. So the podcast will be the next week, or we're going to upload it this day. Mm-hmm. Be kind of more coordinated about it.
I'm hoping we can grow our following base, our listener base, and then maybe get some more interaction from the people that do listen. And so when they share it and say, hey, you should listen to this, well, then somebody goes to look for it. And, well, they haven't released a new show in 3 weeks. What the hell? So,
well, we'll see.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, that's just for the potential of garnering some, because I don't do this to get views or listens, I guess. It's just more to have fun, but we'll see. Well, you can always have fun and garner viewers. That's always nice. Yep. Or listeners. It will be viewers eventually if we get a, and then I think that'll help with the YouTube too, because the YouTube is just kind of, we'll just post it on YouTube too.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So, we'll see.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that out there as kind of at the beginning. But as I stated earlier, or at least I thought I stated, this is episode 26 of Fast Intentions. Hey. So for tradition, we have to look at all the athletes who wore 26 and figure out who this episode's dedicated to.
Famous athletes who wore 26.
Yes.
All right.
So my dad actually has a list this time.
Yes.
Because normally my list is kind of doo-doo.
Yeah, it is doo-doo.
But it's like a fan site, so like fans vote. And they're like, well, Ricky Henderson won 26 for the when he was in the Phillies minor leagues or whatever.
Yeah. We don't roll that way.
So I'm a fan of it. I just noticed too. The plan is if we do this Monday nights, we can and we do this video, we can live react to like the Monday Night Football games. But I realized the way I was sitting, I'm not facing the TV and you are, so you get to watch all the action. I got to look at your ugly mug.
Oh, you come out ahead.
I'm trying to be more creative here, okay?
I'll make my lips a little more pouty for you.
It's okay. I could turn around. Hopefully Kenneth Walker scoring a lot of touchdowns.
Turn the beat around. All right. First on the list, Adrian Peterson.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2, defensive back and ex-Steeler Rod Woodson.
And give me Adrian Peterson.
Drafted out of Purdue. Number 3, current Giant running back, injured, Saquon Barkley. Yes, sir. Then we have somebody you might know, played third base for a baseball team you liked.
Wade Boggs?
Yeah.
Look at me. I know my stuff.
Number 5, Le'Veon Bell. Retired to become a rap artist, and that didn't go too well. He should have stayed with football.
Was that why? I thought he was a rap artist while he was a rap.
Well, yeah. But
he had
once his football thing didn't work out, he decided to do it full time, and that didn't work out either. So.
He has a song called Shrimp Bayless. You ever hear that song?
No.
It's a pretty good diss track.
Number 6, throwback, Hall of Famer, Billy Williams.
Ooh, Billy Williams.
Played for the Cubs.
Billy.
Even a more of a throwback, Jimmy Fox.
Yep.
They picture him here in the Boston Red Sox uniform. Number 8, Chase Utley.
Yeah.
Baseball heavy slant here. We'll go through the top 10 unless I find another name that sticks out. So.
Yeah, that's a lot of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I think the person that chosen so far would probably be the football player.
Number 9, Darryl Strawberry.
Another baseball player.
Straw and Doc. Number 10, Andrew McCutchen of Pittsburgh Pirate fame.
Did he wear 26 with the Pirates?
I guess so. I don't recall.
Why I feel like he wore 23?
I don't know. Well, we won't consider that. Number 11 was Chris Carpenter, another baseball player.
Well, I could be wrong.
Let's see.
I'm bad with numbers.
Clinton Portis. Deuce McAllister. Old Saint. Ooh, local flavor. Kyle Korver of the Creighton Blue Jays.
He wore 22 for the Pirates.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see.
That's okay. He wasn't in
I
consideration.
think that's pretty much it. There's a few other people in here, but nobody that's really stands out to me. So what are you thinking there, Nathan?
Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson?
Yes.
All right. Welcome to episode 26, the Adrian Peterson episode.
I was going to make a joke, but I won't do it.
Oh, okay.
About his legal problems, but that's okay.
Oh, look at you. All right.
So
I have a question for you to start the show.
Uh-oh.
Which Kelsey Swift duo is better? The one in Kansas City or the one in Philadelphia?
In terms of what?
In terms of whatever you think.
Well, football talent, I'd probably give it to the Philly one because I don't know how well the Swift does at football on the Kansas City side. But I don't know. Star power, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift got that by far. Media views, attention. I don't know. I know. It's watch Sunday Night Football and all you see is Taylor Swift shots. It'd be like 10 minutes. But I get why, because she's got a rabid, crazy fan base and she's super popular. So the NFL should keep marketing Taylor Swift while she's at these games because she's getting more people involved.
And she's hanging out with Donna Kelsey, who's had her 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
If not more.
Well, she's had a lot more.
Yes.
They had that whole thing about remember the championship game when they were playing, and she was at the Phillies game and then went to the Chiefs game that night.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a sweet old mom supporting her children. So,
yes,
there's nothing wrong with Donna Kelsey.
Yeah.
But yeah, Taylor Swift, her face is all over the place. Social media is just a bunch of Taylor Swift, which I mean I don't hate because she's got some good music.
It's been good for Travis. His social media's followers have gone way up, and his jersey sales have gone way up.
Well, he was a popular player anyways, being with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think I heard somewhere on the radio the other day he was like in the 20s as far as jersey sales. Now he's like in the top 5.
Well, that's because he's dating Taylor Swift.
Yeah. I will guess next time they show footage from one of her concerts, you'll see a lot of people in the audience wearing 87 jerseys.
Maybe, especially if they play in Kansas City. Or she performs in Kansas City again.
Well, it'll probably be a while because she was just there. So, I mean, she's doing like stadium tours and all that. I think that's the reason she was able to go to last night's game is because she was in New York for a show or upcoming show. So,
well, fuck, I ain't spending $6,000 to go watch her perform live. No offense.
Who did your sister go see? I saw
she went to go see Beyonce yesterday.
Oh, okay. Where was that at?
Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
But apparently they're saying she started the concert like 2 hours late because everyone was stuck in traffic.
Oh.
It was all backed up, so the concert didn't start till like 10.
Oh, well, that was nice of her.
So that's what my mom told me when I woke up this morning.
That was nice of Beyonce, not Emma.
Yeah, well, I was also half asleep, so I could have heard that wrong. But because she posted something on Instagram, like, I can't believe I got to see this live. So
that's cool. Good.
She asked me if I wanted to go, but no offense to all the Beyonce fans out there, I don't really listen to Beyonce like that. I would rather go see Taylor Swift than Beyonce. And I may get mauled for saying that, but I don't know.
Here comes the lion. Watch out.
I don't hate Beyonce. I just don't listen to her music as much. Taylor Swift got the pop stuff. I don't mind pop music. The Blank Space. It's a good song.
I know a few of Taylor Swift songs, but that's more from when she was on the countryside.
See, I know all the pop stuff.
So
I know all the pop stuff.
Yeah.
No, but my favorite, because I don't think we talked about this. I don't think week 2 had happened yet when we had our last podcast, but when Travis Kelce scored that touchdown, Ian Eagle said he found the blank space. I thought that was funny. He found the blank space in the coverage and scored the touchdown.
Well,
and they say he was just waiting to unload that one. All those puns.
Yeah, if somebody was a bad man, you could have for sure put money on Kelce scoring a touchdown that first game Taylor Swift was at. And you could almost bet that, so.
Yeah, well, she had to go see the Bears game. That was pretty bad. Poor Bears. We could talk about them too, but they're
I have it on my list.
Okay, yeah, they're a big train wreck. But I'll just say this. If Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift break up, there's going to be a lot of bad blood.
A lot of good music.
That was a Taylor Swift. She has a song called Bad Blood.
Oh. Yeah, somebody posted something online, and I said, why you got to be so mean? And she goes, and one of the people go, who's being mean? I go, I just put an eye roll emoji. I go, that's a lyric from one of her songs. Doofus. So.
It's a love story.
Baby, just say yes. Okay, let's move on. So, do you think all this Taylor Swift coverage is warranted, or is it just kind of a eye roll thing? Like, yeah, okay, big deal, she's there. Who cares?
Well,
show the game.
It's warranted. Okay, people want to disagree either way. The football people aren't going to want to see it, but the NFL keeps posting it and keeps publicizing it because it's going to get more eyes on their product, and so I'm okay with it. And I don't hate Taylor Swift, so people have a problem with Taylor Swift for some reason. I know. I don't want to get into politics, but there's some political pundits that don't like Taylor Swift for certain reasons.
Well, because she has views that don't agree with hers. So,
but not. I was
theirs. I'm sorry.
To talk about how boring I am, I was listening to the Politicon debates last night from like 2018 between people, and someone actually brought up Taylor Swift as like a point, and they were going on and on. So, and I go, well, that's ironic. Taylor Swift's in the media right now. So ironically, that came up. So. Well, do you want to talk about football then? Because we're on football. What kind of about Taylor Swift?
We can start wherever you want.
Well, you do it. I want you to decide.
All right. Quick side note here before we get going. Before I forget, we were going to talk about the baseball playoffs with our friends Glenn and Wayne, who joined us a few weeks back. Our only video chat that we put up video chat that we had posted.
We didn't record the Brad
video
one.
Of. Yeah. Well, we had something scheduled with those guys tonight, but apparently Glenn's not feeling that well, and he's had to go to the hospital for nothing major, but just get some do some recovering, get some more electrolytes in his body, and get him feeling better. Because I talked to him the other day on the phone, I could just tell on the phone he just wasn't his usual self. So. We just wanted to send our thoughts out to Glenn and tell you, buddy, we're thinking about you and hope you feel better. And hopefully we get a chance to get with you and Wayne again on a later show. So just the thoughts to those guys.
Yeah, shout out my man Glenn.
Yeah.
Whenever they're ready and go, hopefully the playoffs are still going on or something we can discuss.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll bring them in the off season. But whenever they're ready, we'll get them on something and upload it, even if it's not on like a show.
Yeah, it was real nice. His wife sent me a little text Saturday morning and just tell me what was going on. So I thought it was super nice of her. And I don't know if she did that at her own fruition or maybe Glenn said, "Hey, text these guys." So
I can see both of those things being true.
All right. I got a segment for you. Real original here. We're going to call it Buy, Sell, Hold.
And like me?
I'm talking to you.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a team.
Okay.
And you're buying, which means you think they're good and that you'll stick with them and think they can improve and become a good team.
Or they should blow it up.
Or you can sell, which means you're done with them and you would just abandon ship. Or hold because you're not quite sure where they're going to go, and so you're not willing to dump them or bet on them.
Like, okay,
makes sense.
So am I thinking about this just like personally, like this year, or like as a whole franchise? Does that make sense?
Whatever you think. I mean, you can just make it more complicated than it need to be.
I'm good at doing that.
I know. So just however you want to quantify it, I'll leave that up to you. All right, the first team. I have 6 teams for you. 3 performing pretty badly and 3 are performing pretty well.
All right, let's go.
All right, first one, Cincinnati. Are you going to buy, sell, or hold?
You got to hold on Cincinnati. You can't blow that bad boy up. I know they're struggling in the passing game right now, but T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow. I know the offensive line's kind of shoddy, but something's going to have to work there eventually. It's too talented of an offense. Joe Burrow's injured. Well, he's playing injured, right, with the hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's the reason why, or like the lack of training camp, there's a little bit of disconnect. But you can't really just send them off on their own already, just because it's too talented. They have Super Bowl aspirations this year. You can't 4 games in, you can't just say they're completely out of it. You got Joe Burrow shown in his career. I sound like I was done. Joe Burrow's shown enough in his career that he is a top 5 quarterback in the league, and he can overcome rough patches. And so I think eventually they will. Maybe not this year, but they need to find a way to get T. Higgins more involved. Jamar Chase said he's effing open every time, and so he's got to throw me the ball. So who knows?
Well, T. Higgins just found out he's injured, so he's going to be out for several weeks.
Yes.
Joe Burrow, you can tell Joe Burrow just isn't right. He's trying to play through an injury, but he's not fully healed. If his line's not giving him enough protection, if he has to try to move,
he can't
to
do
make
it.
things happen, he's kind of restricting his mobility, which doesn't help. Victor Cruz.
That's the Monday Night Football reaction. Do a little salsa dance.
So yeah, their defense is good. I mean, it's not elite. It's good, and it rises up on occasion. But like you said, they're 1-3, which isn't what they were hoping for, but they're by no means out of it. So I agree with you. I would hold on Cincinnati, especially with the injuries, and kind of see where they're at when they're a fully healthy team, if they get a chance to become a fully healthy team.
Hold on.
Next team I have for you is the Chicago Bears.
Sell.
Are you going to buy,
sell?
Or you're selling?
Blow it
All
up.
right.
Stick some dynamite, light a fuse, run away, and blow it up.
You think the Justin Fields experiment's over?
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, he's shown glimpses. I think I talked about last year. I was talking about Darnell Mooney could be a sleeper because Justin Fields showed the glimpses, and he started to at the end of last year. Like, maybe the Bears could do something, even though they hadn't won a game all year. But yeah, it's just a big mess. They're getting their ass kicked every game. They had a lot of high hopes going this year with the DJ Moore thing, trading the first-round pick. But Justin Fields just hasn't shown to be like a premier passer. It's just mostly his feet, which is always beneficial. But then people argue the play calling's really bad, the head coaching's bad. It just seems like the whole system's kind of messed up. I think the best thing for Justin Fields and the best thing for the Bears is just go their own separate ways. And hopefully the Bears are bad enough that they can get Caleb Williams in the draft.
Well, speaking of Caleb Williams, I saw tonight he says he can make more money staying at USC than he can going to the pros. And he gave a list of only 5 teams he wants to play for. And as you can imagine, the Chicago Bears were not one of them.
Well, I mean, I don't blame him because who's the most successful Bears quarterback?
Jim McMahon.
Yeah. Well, like out of the last few years, it's Jay Cutler.
Yeah, he wasn't that great. But yeah, Fields is kind of an enigma to me because it seemed like last year, he started off struggling, and then they kind of tailored the offense to what he does best,
and
let
it
him
worked.
run and move and stuff. And for whatever reason, they seem like they kind of gone back away from that and tried to go back to making him a pocket passer. And he's never really shown he was a pocket passer. And his numbers, just drop back at Ohio State weren't that great. But there's talent around him, DJ Moore and like you said, and Cole Kmet, and they have some good players on defense. But yeah, for whatever reason, it's just not a good fit there. And when you struggle with the quarterback position, it just reflects on the rest of the team. And if you don't have a good, strong leader under center, I don't know what you do there. But yeah, I've seen several pundits online just say, mentioning last week that it was pretty much over. But they did show some flash. It was against the Broncos, but they did show flashes yesterday, and they got it pretty big yesterday. I mean, like
28-7.
Yeah, like 4 touchdowns before halftime. Looked like they were doing really well. Then all of a sudden, they just were shut down the whole second half. So.
See, I think that kind of just encaptures the Bears organization right now because they made the moves. DJ Moore, TJ Edwards. They're like, oh, well,
Claypool.
maybe. Well, okay, yeah, Claypool. They said is not even with the team right now because he's a big mess, but. They showed that, we're rebuilding, but maybe we can get some guys in. We could be, like, fun at least. At least put a winning product out on the field so the fans. But, yeah, it's just a big mess. I think you should just blow it up and keep tanking.
Okay. Then the next team, buy, sell, hold, the LA Chargers. Sitting at 2-2.
I want to say buy because we all know how good Herbert is and how good they can be. But I can't buy them when Brandon Staley's still their head coach. I think everything's pointing. I know I talked about the reason I didn't pick them to make the playoffs is because they had Brandon Staley as their coach. Because I don't know, because they're really well. They play really well, and then they have those big mental lapses. I had this as a topic. Brandon Staley's terrible fourth down decisions the last 2 weeks now because they even did it this Sunday against the Raiders. Went for 4th and 1 on their own 30. He just doesn't seem to be the guy, and you never want to. A guy that's bad at the helm, you don't really want to push to the moon. But as an organization-wise, they have a lot of talent. Justin Herbert's a very good quarterback. He'll be their quarterback for the next 10 years probably.
Eckler's been injured. Keenan Allen's back.
He's been really good too. Mike Williams got hurt.
Lost Mike Williams.
But yeah, they have Josh Palmer. Quentin Johnson hopefully can kind of get incorporated there. Khalil Mack just had 6 sacks in one game.
Second most ever behind Derek Thomas. 7.
He said he had no sacks first 3 weeks. Now he's tied for the league lead. So they have a lot of talent. It's just, is Brandon Staley the right guy? I don't think he is. So I think they should cut ties with him when they can and continue to go in the direction they are. So I'm maybe I'll say hold.
You gonna hold on?
I'll say hold because they have the talent to do so, but I don't think they have the right man in charge. No offense to Brandon Staley. I don't like to advocate for people getting fired, but sometimes after a while, someone needs to go, and Brandon Staley needs to go. Just like Joe Barry needs to go as defense coordinator of the Green Bay Packers.
Well, my friend Steve and I talk about this a lot. Just a lot of times, and I've mentioned this on several of the other pods. But sometimes these coaches just try to just outsmart themselves. Just come out and call and coach basic football, and that'll win you the game 75% of the time. Just making dumb calls or going for 2 when it's not necessary, or going for 4th down when you don't need to. What was that game we were watching the other night where they were trying to close it out and they kept running, and then they punted it back, and then they got the ball back with less time to go, but instead of just running like they did last time to run out the clock, and then they started throwing the ball.
You're talking about the Lions game.
The Lions game, yeah. And I was like, what are they calling here? It made no sense. Their offensive philosophy was seemed like it was in reverse at the time, and I just didn't get it, but whatever. Those people make way more money than we do. So,
yeah.
All right. My next one for you is Miami. Miami came in as the hot number this weekend, and they kind of got kicked in the teeth by the Buffalo Bills. Does that dissuade you from the Dolphins, or
nope?
Is it just a game, where sometimes something got away from them?
I think Tony Romo said it best. I was watching the game because I have Tua as my quarterback. Tony Romo said it best. Miami's not going to go away. They're still going to be really good. Offensively, they have a shit ton of weapons. Defensively, maybe, yeah. But they have a lot. Sometimes you need to get your ass kicked early in the year so you can kind of humble you, because they just put up 70. Oh, my God. Miami Dolphins, they're trained or rolling. But now you get your butts kicked by a good Buffalo team who's been running that division for the last few years. It's probably a good thing that, okay, we're a good team, but we still have a lot of things we can work out and become better. I believe as long as they can stay healthy, I think Tua is a good quarterback. Because I think people gave up on Tua too early because he got hurt. Then he came his first year, and he wasn't that good. And people are like, well, man, Tua's not a good quarterback, blah, 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 blah. But there was a reason why remember tank for Tua when Dolphins were going to lose 0 games and Brian Flores won one of a bunch of games. So there was a reason why everyone's like, we got to tank for Tua. We got to tank for Tua because he's that good. And I think he shows sometimes he struggles with the deep ball a little bit, throwing the ball. But when you have Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert when he's healthy, a Kane, I think is how they said it now, not A-Chain, but he's becoming a threat. That's why I trade him to you in fantasy football. So they have too many offensive weapons to not be a contender. So
yeah, I kind of compare yesterday's game to like a boxing match where Miami's just in there like a little jab, 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 cross, jab, cross, and then Buffalo's just in there throwing body blow after body blow after body blow, and Miami stood up to that for a while, but after so many body blows, you just kind of your stomach just kind of crumbles and you just can't take anymore. And then they just turned the ball over a couple times and just Giants just went for it on 4th and 1 at their own 26, and I don't think they made it.
Were they in a shotgun formation?
I did not notice, but Jamal Adams was back after not playing a game 358 days, and he went low to tackle Daniel Jones on a previous play, and Jones's knee hit him in the head, so he's out of the game. I think he looked kind of trying to do the push. They had 2 offensive linemen stacked behind him plus a running back, but looks like Seattle pushed back the other way harder. Oh, that could have been hands to the face because Wagner had his hands right up in Jones's grill. But yeah, so I mean, I agree with you. We'll have to see what it's like when Buffalo comes down to Miami and see how that game goes. But yeah, hopefully Miami will learn that they got to be tough. You can't, it's good to have all this speed in the NFL, but you come up against a team that's going to be physical with you. You got to be able to withstand those.
That's why I picked the Bills to win the East.
Well, there you go.
Well, I also picked the Bengals to win the North.
Well, there you go. Okay.
And I also picked the Panthers to win the South.
So we have our first bye. What about the Ravens? Baltimore Ravens, 3-1. They just beat the Browns yesterday, 28-3. It wasn't a spectacular performance because Watson was out, so the Browns had to go with their backup quarterback, the rookie. But
this one's interesting because the offenses look good and it's also looked kind of bad at the same time.
Mark Andrews made you a nice couple catches yesterday.
That's why Darren Waller's on the trade block. Anyone listening?
They've been dealing with a few injuries.
A few injuries, yes. They didn't look good against the Colts that one game. They were really struggling offensively.
They did all right, but then they let the Colts come back and beat them. So
I'm going to, I don't know. Maybe I'll say hold because it all depends on Lamar Jackson's health and how well he plays. Because if he goes down, the team goes down. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, you could technically say that about any team.
Pretty much.
But I think Lamar Jackson's injury history has shown that it's become kind of concerning. Mm-hmm. So, and then they've been a little inconsistent, but there's too much talent there to want to just completely write them off. You can't sell the Ravens.
Yeah.
So I would probably say hold, leaning towards buy.
Yeah, I would agree with you. My only concern, like you said, is with all their injuries in the backfield, they're tempted to probably run Lamar a little bit more.
He had 2 rushing touchdowns
than they planned on, which makes him susceptible to injuries more because it opens him up to being hit more, which is, not really what you want. But right now, if that's what you need to get the offense going and scoring, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Well, he's so good running the ball too. You have to do it. But yeah, you also want to limit it because you can't just keep getting hit every play. Because that's the thing, running backs run the ball and get hit. They're used to it. But quarterbacks, if they're either throwing the ball every play and getting hit, and then they're running the ball and getting hit. They're getting hit a lot more than the running backs.
Yeah, once you pull the ball down and tuck it, you're not as protected, as you are when you're in the pocket. And I saw something yesterday in the Buffalo-Miami game where a guy hit Josh Allen. It wasn't real egregious, but then Josh Allen's pointing like, hey. And I just get sick of that's the Tom Brady thing where these guys just show up and they're trying to get calls no matter what happens. It's just, just go play the game. Quit looking to, try to get freebie calls just because somebody touched you. It's football, for cripe's sakes.
Old man.
That's right. And the last one, I would assume this will be a buy, but the San Francisco, are you buying what San Francisco's putting out there, even though they're dealing with a few injuries? I mean,
of course.
So
49ers is the best team in football. Buying them.
And I think Brock Purdy's not quite getting the credit he deserves for being a. Well, there's Waller for a touchdown. Oh, he stopped running. Keep going. The ref moved.
I don't know.
Well, Kenneth Walker, there he goes. Kenneth Walker Jr. just ran a ball around the edge, and the guy tackled him. But when he tackled him, Walker rolled over and was on top of him. And so he took off running, and then you could see the side judge was running with him, and then he stopped. And he went back, and then he was looking around, and nobody went after him. And then next thing you know, they turn around, he's running again. So you could tell the side judge didn't think he was down because he was running along with him along the sidelines. Oh, here comes the replay. They're going to show he's got Okariki's tackling, but he lands on top of Okariki. Oh, his elbow hit, so he might be down. I think his elbow hit, so they might keep him down. But if you can keep watching, I don't know if he's in this replay. I think they might luck out because I think when they rolled him over, his elbow hit. But you can see the side judge running with him on the. See right there. Yeah, his elbow's down. The Giants got lucky. He's going to be down after a 2-yard loss.
Anyways, the 49ers?
Yeah, sorry. It was just a weird play. But I could tell that the side judge didn't think it was dead because he kept running with him. So, but of course it's under review. I think he'll be down back where Okariki had him. So.
Okay. Yeah, the 49ers are good.
Yeah.
All right.
Defense? No concerns about their defense?
No, they're good.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you want me to go in depth? I just think they're the best team.
No, that's right. That's why I picked to go Super Bowl.
Yeah, I had them in the NFC Championship game, I think.
Yep.
I think I have my predictions here. Yes. I picked the Eagles. And I picked the Bengals.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Okay.
All right. So do we want to talk about Brandon Staley and Josh McDaniels and their idiotic calls?
Yes.
We already talked about Brandon Staley's, but
you did.
He's up 4 points on his own 25 against the Vikings or whatever it was, and he did a quarterback sneak on 4th and 1, didn't get it. Luckily, before the Vikings turned the ball over, I think it was a turnover on downs. I'm not sure, but they didn't get in the end zone. But it didn't happen again against the Raiders, where they went for it on their own 36, and then they didn't get it. And then who's the quarterback for the Raiders threw a pick at the end?
Garoppolo?
No, I think Garoppolo was hurt, wasn't he?
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, Aiden McConnell.
Yeah, Aiden McConnell threw a pick. So, saved them both times. Both kind of stupid decisions. I don't know what you think about going for it. 4th and 1, your own 25 with only a few minutes left in the game. I get that if you get it, you probably end the game or at least waste. I don't remember what the clock situation was.
Were they leading?
Yeah, they're up by 4.
Oh,
but then they didn't get it, and then they let the Vikings be pretty much in their red zone, ready to go ahead.
Yeah, if you're ahead, you can't go for it. I know it shows a lot of confidence in your team, but I guess it was foolhardy. But yeah, you got to punt that ball. Especially that far down, because you got to consider slightly that you might not make it. So, like you said, you're basically they're in field goal range, right there anyway. So, yeah, it's just dumb. They have to score a touchdown. A field goal won't do it unless, they get the ball and score right away. Maybe the Vikings would have kicked the field goal right away and then went for the onside kick and hopefully with enough time left. You don't know what the Vikings would have done, but yeah, that's a bad call. You can't make that call.
Okay. Well, the one you probably saw was the Josh McDaniels one because they were playing the Steelers. It was, I think, 3.5 minutes left, and they went for a field goal on their 30-something. And then they didn't get it because there was a leverage call on Pittsburgh, which you probably disagreed with because it's a dumb
it's a dumb rule. But, he what he did was illegal technically, but he didn't push off on the guy per se.
Yeah.
He just jumped, and sometimes if something's there, you just kind of put your hand out for balance. I don't think he did. He didn't push off on the guy, but yeah. So,
but anyways, because that call, they got an automatic first down. So he didn't kick the field goal. Well, then eventually they had to go for it. They're I think they were, was it goal to go, I think? or it was pretty damn close to it. Well, there was like 2 minutes and 20-something seconds left, maybe, if that. And so they're only down by 8, and they're right there. It's like a 4th and 3 or a 4th and 4. And he decides to kick the field goal because he said, well, we still needed 2 scores, I think was what his opinion was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I get that there's a chance you may not get the 2-point conversion, but what are the chances? And I also don't mind it because he's putting faith in his defense, which I think is a good thing. People say, well, you gotta go for it because you got to believe in your offense. Well, I think you can do the opposite and believe in your defense too to make a stop. But at that point, you need a touchdown. You're already right there. And if you're not going to get it, oh well, you're still going to have to stop him anyways. So you may as well just do it and try. Because I guess the reasoning is, well, if we kick the field goal, get the points, and then we have to stop him, we still need a touchdown anyways, so we could score and take the lead, I guess is the logic. But with only like 2 minutes left, and if for sure a first down is going to end it, you kind of just got to do it. Because then if you waste all your time, they're going to kick it all the way down to your 20, and you're going to have like a minute left to go all the way down the field with no timeouts to try and get the touchdown. So I get the logic, but it just didn't make sense. If you would have done it the first time with like 4 minutes or 3.5 minutes left, I would have not minded as much because you aren't right there. And then, you, like you said, you have a chance. You'll have more time to actually do a drive as opposed to like 2 minutes left in the game.
Well, as a Steeler fan, I was actually pretty happy he decided to go for the field goal because at that time, Pittsburgh was kind of hit and miss on whether or not they were stopping them. You know, they were moving the ball pretty well. And, I mean, Devontae Adams was just carving them up. I mean, they threw it to him, and he had like 11 catches for like 150 yards or something. But, yeah, I was more than happy that they made that call, and then Steelers were able to bow up enough to stop them. But real quick, they did overrule the 73-yard touchdown and called him down. His elbow did hit, so he had a 2-yard loss instead of a 73-yard touchdown.
Well, that's bullshit.
And Seattle ended up punting.
He's on my fantasy team, damn it.
Well, too bad.
But, yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't understand it. Chris Collinsworth, who was doing the call, was kind of trying to make sense of it, like you said. But, yeah, I was more than happy that they decided to make that call as a Steeler fan. So,
well,
because I wasn't sure they could have stopped him if they would have went for it. So.
Well, you were talking about dumb calls too, about 2-point conversion. Mike McDaniels kind of had a weird one, but they scored a touchdown against the Bills, so they're only down 11.
Yeah,
but instead of kicking the
point for 10,
he went for 2.
9. Yeah,
because
and missed it.
Yeah, and he missed it because I don't really get logic at all. Because like, oh, I don't.
Well, because then you're forcing yourself to go for 2 on one of your touchdowns going forward. I mean, you're down 11, so if you get a field goal and then you go get another touchdown, then you have to go for 2 then.
Yeah.
So,
but I think Tony Romo was trying to say, well, if you don't get it and then they get a field goal, it's still like a touchdown and whatever. But I go, that's too much math for me.
Yeah, I heard
kick the field goal.
I heard some of the game on the radio, and the announcer was saying, I don't get the logic on this one. He goes, I know they must have the numbers that say to do it or something, but the announcer wasn't understanding, and I didn't really understand it either, But you know, it's one of those deals. If you make it, then it's not such a bad call. But they didn't make it. So,
well, Matt LaFleur did that against the Saints. They were down 2 touchdowns, and he went for 2, and they got it, and that's why they ended up winning by 1.
Well, there you go.
Because I think Mina Kimes said she liked it because she goes, well, I mean,
no guts, no glory.
Well, she was like the probability of you getting one of the 2 2-point conversions to win the game. You either get the chance to win or you just tie it, which I kind of get. I don't know. It's just there's too much bullshit. It's just like kick the point and tie it. Stop trying to like win the game. John Harbaugh does that all the time too, with the Ravens. Oh, we're gonna go for 2 and trying to win. They've lost like 3 games because of that. They tried to go for a 2-point conversion and don't get it. I think they did that against the Steelers once, and then they did it against someone else too. I think that was the 11-0 Steelers.
Yeah,
they did that and they lost.
Started off hot against the Redskins too, and then that's the game they lost. But
the Commanders.
Well.
Okay.
It was the Redskins at the time.
And then the NFL thing I had was, I know you said you didn't watch it because you were walking your dog, but Sauce Gardner got called on a holding against the Chiefs, where Mahomes threw a pick, but then they called it. I mean, it's the same thing as the Super Bowl. That's the only thing I want to say about it. Remember the Super Bowl when they called the hold on whoever?
The defensive back.
Where there is a hold, but it's so ticky-tacky. Like, in that moment, you don't want to, call it. Oh, maybe he did like a little slight thing kind of in the motion. And yes, it's a hold. So Chiefs fans didn't argue, yes, well, it was a penalty. Yes, it was. But at that point in the game, And it's so minuscule, it's just kind of like, okay. But then the Jets never got a chance to go back and get it. And then Robert Saleh was pissed. He got a flag for unsportsmanlike. He was down there barking at whoever. And then there was one play where Mahomes threw it away, and then you could see they were showing Robert Saleh, and he kept going, "That's grounding, that's grounding," and he said it at least 10 times. So I tweeted, I think Robert Saleh thought that play was grounding because he said it like 12 times. It was pretty funny. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that. It wasn't nothing big.
Yeah, I did see an X out there that on the play where Mahomes ran down to the one and slid down to end the game. There was I think it was a defensive end that was rushing it, and the Chiefs tackle had him grabbed by the shoulder pads, really basically holding on to him, and he was trying to get away. And you could see the guy was reacting because you could see his hand up in the TV, and he was like his finger was like pointing, like, "What's that?" So they were just talking about how they called that penalty, but didn't call the one where Mahomes ran, and it was a blatant hold against the Chiefs that somehow they didn't call. So, well,
there was a lot of blatant holds. I think there was one early in the game too, where one of the Chiefs tackles was really holding on a guy. Well, I think it was that they had like a 3rd and 22 where Mahomes like ran 24 yards and got the first down. I think there was a hold on that play, if I remember correctly. But that was last night. I don't remember last night. So, but that's all I got to say about that. So, people are going to always spin it like it's a conspiracy to make the Chiefs win or whatever, but I don't believe it's that. I believe it's just shitty calls that go a certain way, which kind of stinks.
Yeah, another video of a fight in the stands at a football game too. Every week I constantly see this. And this time, though, the guy punched him in the face twice, and then when the dude was trying to stand up, the guy pushed him down the stairs in the aisle. So
shouldn't get in fights at football games, people.
No, and you shouldn't be drinking too much where you act stupid. And then, but yeah, you gotta kind of behave yourself. And I know it sounds kind of dumb, but you just can't be getting in fights because what's gonna happen is this stuff. People don't step anymore. Everybody records everything, so you're gonna be found out. They're gonna find you, and you're gonna be tossed out of the game, and then you're gonna be tossed out of the stadium for life probably. And is it worth it beating up the fan of an opponent? Not really. So just mind yourself out there where you're out at a sporting event that the cameras are always out. Somebody's going to film it, and then you're going to get caught. So.
All right. Well, do you have any more football stuff?
I do not.
Unless you want to talk about Nebraska. But they just got their ass kicked. That's all.
Yeah, well, I mean, we talked about it last pod. We expected Nebraska to lose. Michigan's a top 5 team in the country.
Arguably number 1 now.
Arguably strong offense, strong defense. Disappointed that Nebraska's black shirts didn't show up a little bit better than they did. I didn't see the game, so it's really hard to say, give you my opinion on what happened, what didn't happen. I don't know what kind of plays they called or what they ran. I know they named Harburg the starter and gave him the start. So I don't know. I think he probably wasn't a dynamic enough player to beat Michigan by himself. He probably needs help, but I just don't think Nebraska's at that point yet where they can stand up to teams like that. And disappointing result, but Matt Rule, I did see, said that's not acceptable. We got to be willing to fight. Fight when we're down 14. Fight when we were down 30, fight when we haven't scored yet, just to keep fighting. And it was nice to see that kid get that big, long touchdown run that transferred in here, and he was a receiver, and now they tried to convert him to running back to help with the depth. It was nice to see him get a big, long score, so props to him. But, yeah, they still have some work to do, and we all knew that. Like I said, we got excited through the first couple of games because especially the first game because we thought maybe they had a chance to beat Minnesota and be pretty good. But the reality is this is who Nebraska is. I will say they play Friday night this week at Illinois, so that's going to be a big test. And if they have hopes of getting to the playoffs or not playoffs, but getting to a bowl game and
it's a game you got to win.
Participating, this is a game they have to win. And now Illinois just got their butts kicked by Purdue over the weekend, which I wouldn't have. I would maybe give a 50-50 chance to. So it's a winnable game. They just have to come out with the right mentality and pretty much shake it off. I was playing Curtis in the Postal League, and He says, "You like that butt whooping I'm giving you?" And I'm like, I said, when you go and you're getting your ass kicked, it's pretty much, it's a lot easier to get over those kind of games than the games where maybe you made one or two mistakes and it was real close. So hopefully they can just wipe it out and say, Michigan's a better team, and that's where we want to be, and just learn and use the film study and get better. So,
yeah, it's pretty much they just got dominant on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Quorum and Michigan was averaging 8 yards a carry. Grant would get like 1 or 2. That was the mainstay. And the Hardberg's not dynamic enough of a passer to really do anything. They had a few good drives where they went down the field and got some stuff going, but then the 4th and 1 was a big deal because they lined up in a shotgun and wanted Hardberg to kind of like run it through. But then Matt Rule said he overreacted and jumped when he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
But then again, I know people bitching about it, which it's a good thing. When you're 4th and 1, you should just be on the center and try and push forward as opposed to especially because when the offensive line is definitely not as good as Michigan's defensive line, you have no chance of trying to win the battle and push through like that. You guys just kind of sneak it in and hope you get through, or take the points at least. But then again, you're already down 14-0, and Michigan's just gonna there's like, what's a field goal going to do?
Yeah, but it maybe it would have gave the guys some confidence. But like we talked about earlier, you got to show your team that you have faith in them and that they can pick up a yard against anybody. And Harburg's big enough where they should have been able to get some push or something. But yeah, these teams that line up in the shotgun and then try to do it. I mean, you're giving the other team 3 or 4 or 5 yards before you even get the line of scrimmage to try to stop you. So I never get that, but. Basically what we expected. I mean, not too much to delve into there. So
yeah, I get why people want Harburg because Sims is such a turnover machine, but I think their ceiling gets raised with Sims as their quarterback. I think they're able to do more dynamic things on the offense. He's more dynamic of a player. But the thing is, you can't have him out there if he's just going to keep turning the ball over and over and over, and he's not healthy. So that's a big thing. It'll be interesting to see if they ever go back to Jeff Sims.
Well, and then if he runs the option, he actually might pitch it. When they run the option at Harburg, he turns the corner. He's got the ball tucked. He's not pitching the ball. I mean, so
yeah,
teams in film study are going to realize, hey, he's not even looking to pitch the ball. So don't even, commit to the running back. Go after the quarterback.
Well, that's hard too. We lost our top 2 running backs for the year.
Sure, it does. It sucks. I mean, but everybody deals
Grant
with
fumbled
injuries,
again.
So.
Luckily, they recovered it, but they had a good drive, and he almost coughed it up again. So it's just like, fuck, that man can't hold on to the ball. So, yeah, there's a lot of things going against Matt Rule, but it sucks, too, because we were in a rebuild. Oh, sorry, I hit the mic. We're in a rebuild with Mike Riley. He has a whole new system from what Bo was doing. But it didn't work out, so then they got rid of him. So then they bring in another guy to rebuild a rebuild. So
with a different system.
So then he's got to put in his whole personnel system. So then you got a few shitty years, and then Scott Frost was disappointed because he had a good team that competed every game, and they just couldn't freaking win anything. So it's like, well, you could see the glimpses there, but then losing a game at home to Georgia Southern, they had some really bad losses, like Northwestern. There's no way you could keep that.
2 pick sixes.
Yeah. So then you have Matt Rule come in with a new system, rebuilding a rebuild. So then you got to go through the shitty years again. So I get why people are frustrated, but it's going to be bad for 2-3 years probably before we see something. Hopefully by year 4, if Matt Rule doesn't have if we're still as shitty as we are, that's probably when we start to get real questions about him.
Well, he's focused on landing the in-state talent. He seems like he's doing pretty well on that. But yeah, it's gonna take a couple of years to get his guys in here, and you got to get, even though they try hard, sometimes that losing culture just kind of ingrained, and you gotta shake that, and like we said a couple of podcasts ago, until they actually win like a game in the last minute, they're not going to overcome that. So either you got to win that kind of game, or you just got to get those players out of that system and, get a new mindset in there, a new mentality.
Which I think will take a few years. You got to get the suck out.
Yeah.
Not definitely. To say the players are bad. It's just you got to get that nasty taste out of your mouth. And it takes a few years and a new coach to do that. So
definitely. Yep.
We'll see. I think Matt Rule is the guy. I'm just saying. The point of me saying all that was, relax. It'll be okay, hopefully. You just got to give it time. And if it doesn't work out, we're going to have to give it time again. Eventually, hopefully. Did you see Barstool Sports is make Nebraska mediocre again shirts?
Mm-mm.
Because that the guy, Dave Portnoy, he's a big Michigan fan. He was in Lincoln for the game.
Oh.
And they had like a Barstool show.
Oh.
But he's like...
I did see something where he was eating a Runza or something, but...
He gave it a good review too, which is nice. But it's just, he goes, I want Michigan to win, but it's just more fun when Nebraska's at least decent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he left the game like when they were down 20-0. He goes, I can't watch this anymore. It's too sad. So, I mean, I get it. Will Compton didn't like it. He goes, that's an insult. Like, make Nebraska mediocre again. But a lot of fans are like, shit, we'd pay a lot of money just to be okay again. Not even like national championship. Fucking Sean Eichhorst, piece of shit. All right, well, that's the Nebraska rant. So, I was at that game too. I was happy they scored, so I got to do the fight song at least once. Go Huskers. Because we're sitting here, Michigan fans, and they're just sitting there watching us. Go Huskers. Oh, we're only down 38 now. But it was just fun.
Yeah, I remember you texted me. They scored. I was like, oh, nice. So
yeah, we were happy.
Yeah,
because these guys are Michigan fans, and Nebraska fans would go, oh, someone's like, I think he was there with their daughter. He's like, can we leave? We're like, no, there's a chance the comeback comes. So when they scored 5 minutes left, I go, the comeback started. And they just looked at me. I thought it was funny. So I feel bad for all the Michigan fans that showed up. Nebraska, it's a great place to watch a football game, and it'll be more exciting if we were decent.
Yeah, the
atmosphere would be better. Half the student section was gone by halftime.
Yeah, the atmosphere gets really muted when Nebraska isn't playing well.
And we got a bunch of old people. They're not making a whole lot of noise.
That's true.
They stopped making noise like halfway through the first quarter. We're already down 21-0. So like, why am I going to? Oh, third down. We're down 35.
All you can hear is their air tanks going.
Yeah.
So yeah, baseball playoffs start. Regular season ended yesterday, and so you want to get in our predictions and how we did?
Sure, let's go.
Compared to what happened?
Sure. Not what happened. I will say that.
First year in many a year that.
Oops, sorry, my computer went off.
The Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Cardinals are not involved. Any of them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I could have told you the Red Sox wouldn't be involved. Now we don't have a GM. Okay, so how do you want to do this? You want to go by division?
Yeah, we can go by division.
Okay, so I'll start. American League East. It's always the first one.
I had the Yankees.
I also had the Yankees.
Didn't do too well there.
Well, offense was a big mess. Without Aaron Judge, they didn't have much going for them. And even when they came back, they still didn't have much going for them.
That's true.
So they need to fix the offensive side of the field pretty quick. I was going to say side of the ball, but this isn't football. So, and then do you want to talk about just division winners? Okay.
Yep. And then I had Cleveland.
I had Cleveland as well in the shithole division. But the Twins kind of pulled out of there. They're 12 games above 500. At least they're okay. Mm-hmm. But, so.
And then the Astros, the hated Astros.
I had them too. They won it by a tie with the Rangers.
Okay.
So.
And in my wild card teams, I had Tampa Bay.
I did not have Tampa Bay making it.
I had Seattle.
I had Seattle, who didn't make it.
And the White Sox.
You had the White Sox?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had the Blue Jays, who made it. I had the Mariners, who missed it by a game. And then I had the Orioles, which turned out a lot better than I thought. I knew they'd be good. I didn't think to be 101 wins good.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I liked that pick, but I thought maybe you might be a year too soon. But it turns out, no, you were right on.
Yeah, the Tampa Bay thing was kind of... But I also didn't expect them to go 30-6 to start the year, okay? Leave me alone. Because you could argue they were kind of average the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. But we won't say that for the 2 Tampa Bay people that listen to us. So, yeah.
Adam DeWoo and who?
And I will say proudly, I did mention the Rangers as a wild card. And I did mention the Twins as potentially being a wild card team. And I also did mention the White Sox, but we're not going to talk about that. So, overall, I feel pretty good about that. Yeah, the Yankees were kind of disappointing, though. Well, I was okay with it, technically, but... And then the National League. The NL East, I had the Braves winning.
I did, too.
But that was... I think, no offense, I thought that was kind of an obvious choice.
Mm-hmm.
The Central, I had the St. Louis Cardinals.
I had Milwaukee.
The St. Louis Cardinals were a big disappointment. All that talent just to be as shitty as they were.
Big bitches. What they were.
It was... Okay, yeah. I know you don't like them because you're...
And then I had the Dodgers.
I had the Padres.
Oh.
Who also... The Padres and... Okay, the 3 teams that had the biggest disappointments were the Cardinals, in my opinion. The Cardinals, 3rd. The Padres, 2nd. And then first was the New York Mets. Big. Whoo. That was a big swing and a miss.
It's funny you mention those three because those are my three wild card teams in the National League.
Okay. Yeah, so I had the Mets as my first wild card.
I had San Diego.
I had the Phillies as my second.
I had the Mets.
And then I had the Dodgers.
I had the Cardinals.
So, yeah, the National League was not as good.
So who did the three wild card teams end up being?
Okay, so I don't think any of us would have predicted this. The Phillies. Well, the Phillies were good.
Philly captain predicted that.
Oh, we don't care about him. But yeah,
obligatory mention.
Well, Phillies coming off World Series, they put a lot in. You thought they would be good, and they were.
Mm-hmm.
The Marlins.
Oh yeah,
and the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, the Marlins. That really surprised me. I didn't really think. Tomorrow night, first games.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Yeah, the Marlins really surprised me. It just kind of came out of nowhere. So.
Well, and then the Diamondbacks too. Just kind of became the Corbin Carroll show over there.
Well, they the last couple of years they've been good for about half the year, and then they've kind of faded out. The second half, but they actually kept going and were able to stay with it. Zach
Gallen and those guys. Yeah, they have some good players, but I didn't think it'd be like changing.
Yeah. So my Tampa Bay Rays and LA Dodger World Series prediction is still hanging in there.
So are you sticking with it?
I'm sticking with it.
Who do you have winning?
I have the Rays.
That ain't gonna happen.
But and that with losing Wander Franco with all his issues too. So.
Oh yeah,
I really thought the Rays might fall on their faces after that happened, but they've really they had a rough stretch there after that initially, but they've kind of turned it around and got the team adjusted, and they've been pretty strong.
I'm still not sold on the Rays. It didn't look good for a while, but I have the Astros winning the World Series again because there hasn't been a back-to-back since those damn Yankees won it 3 times in a row in the early 2000s. Or 90s in the 2000s, I think. And I had the Braves. It's the easy pick. So I'm sticking with it. I'll stick with the Astros over the Braves, even though I think the Braves are the best team. But then normally the best team doesn't win, so maybe I will stick with the Astros. But yeah, Baltimore's good. Mariners were kind of disappointing because they're right there, and then they had a bad cold streak.
Yeah, well, they lost the wild card on the last day of the season. So
well, they lost like 4 of 6 on the last week. They were very struggling. And then, damn it, I had the Rangers. I'm like, well, the Rangers are going to be good doing that White Sox, but I don't know if they have enough.
Well, that's who Glenn predicted to win the World Series was the Rangers.
Well, they ain't going to win the World Series, Glenn. Sorry, but all in all, I didn't hate my picks.
Well, props to Glenn because Wayne, if you're listening, you do owe Glenn $1 because you guys bet $1 that the Rangers would make the playoffs. So
okay. And then, don't know if you had any other topics. I mean, we could talk about do you really want to talk about the playoff matchups? Or
no, I was going to mention the owners the managers who got let go the last few days. Buck Showalter with the Mets is out.
He's like 80,000 years old.
Yeah. San Francisco let go of Gabe Kapler, and then right before we came on the air to record, Phil Nevin was let go by the Angels. So I'm sure there'll be a few more before it all shakes out. So,
well, the Angels had to blame someone, even though it's not really Phil Nevin's fault. No offense. I've talked about for years their pitching's not that good, and then they have Trout and Ohtani, and they think that just kind of automatically makes them really good. Mm-hmm. But as we proved a baseball player doesn't carry a baseball team.
It's kind of like an NBA league where you have the big three, like one of those teams that have the top 3 guys. Well, then the rest of the dudes are just kind of little. DK Metcalf touchdown. The rest of these guys are just like little, role players.
Could traded him to me.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is here. It's just they just don't have strong players around them, and when you're paying that much money, I get it. It's hard to fork that out for 9 different players. So
yeah, stupid Stephen A. Smith and his dumb takes.
Yeah, well, Stephen A. Smith's dumb period. So
that's not true. He has some good opinions.
No,
he said the Jrue Holiday trade makes the Celtics the favorites in the East, and so that's a very good opinion. But no, he said Ohtani shouldn't be worth $500 million because he hasn't led the Angels to nothing. It's like, okay, whatever, Stephen A. Smith. He only watches baseball when the Yankees in the playoffs. That's it.
Yeah.
So fuck him. And then the other news was the Yankees want to keep Aaron Boone again, which as a Red Sox fan I find great. I hope they keep Brian Cashman again too. So. I mean, you can't really blame Aaron Boone for a shitty roster, but I think people have been harping on him trying to get out of there for a long time. And then the fact that they keep bringing him back to me is just kind of funny. So that's all I have to say there. So then let's talk about the NBA trade real quick.
Yeah, I texted you when I saw this because I was watching the fantasy football show and
Just popped up on the bottom.
Adam Schefter was on there with I can't think of his name. The dude with the really funky name.
Adrian Wojnarowski?
No, on fantasy football.
Well, I didn't know if it was breaking news or something.
The guy who does the fantasy football thing for ESPN. I can't.
Field Yates?
Yeah, they were talking, and then while they were talking, Schefter was on his phone, and he's like texting and stuff, and he says a Woj bomb just dropped, and he's like, oh, and then Field Yates said what it was, and then so you're watching Adam Schefter live texting, and then so I saw it come up on my X, so I replied, I just saw you tweet this live, so but yeah. But then when I saw it, I texted you right away.
I was sleeping.
And I didn't hear nothing back. And then I didn't hear from you all day. And then I did find out you were sleeping. So, but yeah, your team's involved. I'm like, we talked about it before we came on air. Milwaukee traded him to Portland, and now Portland's traded him to Boston. Well, I don't think Milwaukee's expecting to have to go against him, as they're on a team where the Celtics are probably their biggest competitors to get out of the Eastern Conference.
Out of all the teams that could have traded for Jrue Holiday, the Bucks did not want him to go to Boston. I can just guarantee that. And then there was a whole conversation about the loyalty thing, about how Jrue Holiday said he wanted to be in Milwaukee for the rest of his career, how Giannis was a big friend, and there was a big controversy about that. So, but let's get into the physical trades. Okay, I have the trade up right here.
All right.
So the original Damian Lillard trade was a 3-team trade. It was between the Portland, obviously, the Bucks, obviously, and the Phoenix Suns were involved.
The Portland. I like how you say the Portland.
Well, I was going to say the Portland Trailblazers, but I think I just ended up saying the Portland. So Portland got Jrue Holiday. You keeping track of this?
Mm-hmm.
Jrue Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, the center from the Suns.
I think he had to move on. I think he kind of wore out.
Toumani Camara. Well, I think it's just a young player. Milwaukee's 2029 unprotected first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And Milwaukee swap rights in 2028 and 2030, which are also unprotected. So they got 3 picks. They got a pick and 2 swaps. And they got Jrue Holiday and DeAndre Ayton. And DeAndre Ayton's a very young piece, former number 1 pick. The Suns, for giving up Ayton, they got Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson.
Grayson Allen.
He's going to kick someone. And then the Bucks got Damian Lillard. So, Milwaukee got their star. People freaking out because Giannis is doing a lot of podcasts talking about how he just wants to win a championship. And he wants to be a championship caliber guy. And so people are making that seem like he wants to leave Milwaukee and maybe go somewhere else and play with another star to win a title. So Milwaukee responded by training for the best free agent player, technically, Damian Lillard, who also wants to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept saying he didn't want to play anywhere besides Miami, but he seems pretty happy to go play with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. So I think automatically the losing Jrue Holiday makes their defense a lot weaker. But Giannis and Brook Lopez internally, I think, is going to be very okay defending the rim. And I think what they give you offensively is definitely going to make up for the lack of maybe defense on the wing. And then Blazers got a lot of picks. They got a good player in Jrue Holiday, and they traded him to the Celtics for more players and picks. So that's good. And then they got DeAndre on, who they took a flyer on, who's been kind of iffy about Phoenix because Phoenix didn't want to sign him to a big deal. And they signed everyone to like an extension except him. So he's kind of pissed about that. And then there's always kind of there's always a conversation about his lack of effort of wanting to like be a dominant big man kind of guy. So I think just to get him out of there is good. And I know people are kind of making fun of the return for DeAndre Ayton for the Suns. But I think we talked about this before, about their issues last year. Was, yes, they have Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker, but who else is going to step up for them? Who's coming off their bench to actually be like a good force for their team? There wasn't anyone to do that. So now you get Grayson Allen, you get a Nasir Little, guys who can come out and kind of contribute around the big three of Booker, Beal, and KD. And then they get a guy like Yusuf Nurkic, who's a very good center. He's a pretty decent center, which you don't need a guy to score 30 and 10 to be your center when you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal.
No.
So
just rebound.
Exactly.
That's why Dennis Rodman was such a perfect fit for the Bulls when they got him, because he didn't care about scoring.
He just wanted to get rebounds and be good defender.
Yep.
So yeah. So I think it's not an ideal. Whatchamacallit? What do I want to say? It's not
situation.
It's not an ideal
fit.
No, like it's not ideal compensation for the caliber of DeAndre Ayton, but I think it'll benefit them for this year. And then, yeah, I already talked about the Bucks in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
But then Portland traded Jrue Holiday to the Celtics. And I don't have that off the top of my head, but it was Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, because I know this.
And a couple picks.
At least, I think it was 2 or 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
So I hated trading Marcus Smart because they got better with Porzingis, but Marcus Smart's he's that gritty defender guy. He's loudmouth. He bled Boston, and he was just the kind of guy you wanted to represent your team.
Mm-hmm.
And he loved the city. He was a perfect guy, and they got rid of him, which was disappointing because they were going to get rid of Malcolm Brogdon. No offense to Malcolm Brogdon. He was 6th man of the year, very good player, but he was kind of the expendable of the 3 guards, I thought, which was Derek White, Smart, and him. So I was kind of like, well, they are better, though, and I hated trade Marcus Smart because he was my favorite Celtic. I think he should have been a Celtic for life, in my opinion. But now they get Jrue Holiday there, who's kind of the same mold. He's a really good defender. He makes the hustle pays, and he's a better offensive player than Marcus Smart was, and he's more of a traditional point guard. He's going to be able to do the passes. Because Smart was a point guard at Oklahoma State, but he was more of like a shooting guard He's more of like a wing defender kind of guy, not a traditional point guard. But Jrue Holiday is more of that. And he gives you more offense, in my opinion. So that's a good thing. And they keep Derek White. And then I heard Malcolm Brogdon was kind of pissed. He was in trade rumors, and then they wanted to keep him. So he was already kind of... The only bad thing about that was we had to get rid of Robert Williams, who's a very good... He's very good rebounder. He's a very good defender. He could just kind of roam around and block shots out of nowhere. He jumps really high. The only thing about him is he's getting injured a lot. So that's maybe a good thing he's not there because sometimes he had a hard time staying on the court. But he's such a valuable player. So it was good to see him kind of ascend into he could be an all-defensive guy, like first team for sure. So it sucks losing him. But what Brad Stevens said was, sometimes you have to give up a valuable asset when you're trying to win a championship. You got to give up something to get something.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. So I think they're definitely a really good team. It's going to be them in Milwaukee, or heads above everyone else, in my opinion. Philly's kind of a big shamble. Now James Harden's still trying to leave. He didn't show up for media day today because he doesn't want to be there. So they're falling on the wayside. Miami lost. Miami's still going to be good because they have fucking Jimmy Butler, and he always goes bananas in the playoffs. But they lost like 3 role players to nothing. They didn't get anything in return for them. Cleveland's very good, but I don't think they're on that caliber yet. So those are kind of the 5 teams. So I think it's going to be a arms race between Milwaukee and Boston. But I think Boston has very good. Who are you going to throw at Damian Lillard? Oh, well, you could just throw Derek White and Jrue Holiday, like 2 of the best guard defenders in the league. And then you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who are pretty much unstoppable. And Porzingis, who's a third option now. So yeah. They're going to be really good. And it's great for Portland. They got a bunch of picks. They got a young guy in Robert Williams. And they got a young guy in, I can't even think who else they got. DeAndre Ayton. Mm-hmm. So those are 2 really good players. And they got a shit ton of picks. And now there's a lot of interest in Malcolm Brogdon. So they could trade him for even more picks and more assets. So it's great for Portland. It's a good idea they hung on. Because all they would have got from Miami was Tyler Hero. Ooh. Well, we could give him Tyler Hero. I know the Miami is going to be so good. But, yeah. So they made a good deal by waiting. So that was my synopsis in a big circle. I'm
sure these teams aren't done either. There could be more moves coming. So
the only thing I would like Boston to do is maybe get some center depth. But we also have like 3 first-round picks, and we have 8 second-round picks. We traded a shit ton of crap for second-round picks. So during the draft, we got 2 second-round picks, and then we went down for 3 more second-round picks. Then we went down for 2 more second-round. We have 8. And the last trade deadline, I don't remember we talked about this. Everyone went for like 5 second-round picks.
Yep.
So if they want to get someone, they can do it. And they have like a trade exception because they got rid of Grant Williams, which I also kind of miss Grant Williams. He's a good role player, but not for as much money as he was going to get somewhere else. So.
Okay.
There you go. I've blabbed about the Celtics for 10 minutes. I feel good now.
Well, no Packer talk, so they had to fill in with something.
Well, I did talk about firing Joe Barry already.
Did you?
Which they should still do because he's an idiot. Matt LaFleur is also an idiot sometimes, but I do like Matt LaFleur. But he doesn't fucking give Aaron Jones the ball enough.
On Saturday.
Oh. All right, well, calm down with the podcast, buddy.
Oh, I was looking to see if there's any comments. I don't see any comments this week.
That's okay. Well, we have to set the rocket boosters up.
Yeah, so let's get into the capsule. What's your first nugget, Nathan?
So I'm looking up Kenneth Walker's stats. He has 2 rushes for -1 yard. Just trade away, A-Chain, son of a bitch.
That was a new soundboard effect.
I don't really have a nugget, but did you see Tim Wakefield passed away?
I did see that. That was I guess he had brain cancer, according to Curt Schilling.
Oh, okay.
Who announced it.
Okay, so
and I didn't realize. I heard he died, and it kind of caught me off guard. I go, he can't be that old, but I didn't realize he had cancer. So
he's 57.
Yeah,
and I don't know how long. Okay, I don't know because he kept it personal. I didn't know how long he had brain cancer or whatever he had. But Curt Schilling just randomly talked about on a podcast that Tim Wakefield has brain cancer, and everyone was pissed off at him because Wakefield family said they didn't want anyone to know. And Curt Schilling just felt the need to go out there and tell everyone. So then everyone was wishing him good luck. And then the Red Sox made a thing like, oh, they want to keep it private, but they appreciate everyone's well wishes. And then unfortunately, he died like 2 days after that. So maybe Curt Schilling knew it was bad and wanted to maybe like say, oh, well, I love him. But yeah, it's not his
place.
It's not his place to come out and say it unless the Wakefield family said he could. So. But that's besides the point. It shouldn't be about Curt Schilling. It'll be about Tim Wakefield. Everyone says he's such a stand-up guy. One of the best knuckleballers of all time. Who was it? I think Buster only retweeted something. Like, they show one of his knuckleballs against the Yankees, and it just moves, and it doesn't move at all. It just goes straight. And it's creepy how you can just throw it, and it doesn't move at all.
Yeah, it just floats.
So, So, it was cool. And it was sad to see, because I had a chance to see his 300th career win in Kansas City. And then the Royals scored 8 runs and bombed to 6, and they beat the Red Sox like 8-4 or whatever. So that was a big disappointment. But yeah.
Well, yeah, that was sad news when I heard it. It just, I wasn't unexpected. I guess I wasn't up on my Tim Wakefield knowledge. So.
Well, it's okay. He didn't want many people to know anyways. Because I don't blame him. If you have you don't want people being all sympathetic. You just want to be...
Yeah, you don't
normal your last
years
or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I get it.
Then again, some people like it that way. So
yeah, my first nugget is future Hall of Famer Miguel Cabrera played his final game yesterday, and Miguel retires as a 2-time American League MVP. Won the Triple Crown in 2012. A lot of people forget that. All-Star, elected to the All-Star game 12 times. They won the World Series in 2003, and he's a member of the 500 Home Run Club. Easy first ballot Hall of Famer, if you ask me.
Top 30 player of all time.
Yeah, so it was nice. As when he came up to bat, his 3 children introduced him on the intercom. And then when they pulled him out, the last inning he played, the batter grounded out to him, and he ran the ball over to first base and got the guy out on a tag play, so on the base. And then when the manager came out to get him, his kids came out with him. So nice scene there yesterday in Detroit. They did it right. So. Congratulations, Miguel Cabrera, on a well done career, and I know we'll see you in the Hall of Fame one day.
Did you see about the Oakland A's when they gave him his gift? They gave him like a bottle of wine for how they have like a ceremony and they give him like a gift.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave him like a bottle of wine, and people looking it up, and it was like they found it on like the internet. It was like $70, and they go, the A's are so cheap. They gave him like a $70 bottle of wine. That was it. And people roasted them, and I thought it was kind of funny.
That's still pretty expensive.
I know, but it's the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
I guess they're selling tickets for like $2. So I mean,
they were.
But did you also see? I don't know what other nuggets you have because I don't have enough. Did you see Adam Wainwright had a concert?
No.
They had a post game, and because Adam Wainwright played his last game too as a Cardinal. Well, he's going to retire, I believe, and he had a concert after like the Saturday game at Busch Stadium. Because he's a singer. Because he did the national anthem on opening day.
Yeah, he did, and then
they let him have a concert after the game.
His last game that he got in at bat. So
yeah, so shout out the Cardinals for giving Adam Wainwright a concert.
Yeah. So
sorry, that's me. I'm messing with this tape measure. Right?
Any more nuggets, or is that it?
Well, I have a 20 piece.
But bunch. you see Iowa quarterback Cade McNamara was suffered an injury. Not sure what type, but according to this, he's out for the year.
I did see that.
So that's going to really affect Iowa going forward. They've been under fire for having pretty stagnant offense in the first place, and now your big transfer quarterback from Michigan's out for the year. So it'll be really interesting to see. Kato Thibodeau almost had a pick six. He couldn't hold on to it. So it'll be really interesting to see where the Iowa Hawkeyes go after they got shut out 2 weeks ago at Penn State. So
scoring 4 points a game.
Yeah.
Shit, that's the only team we can outscore in the league, Iowa. Our shitty offense.
And then my last nugget, Zach Greinke, pitched opening day, and he pitched the final game yesterday. Last time I saw, he was up 5-0, and they came and got him, pulled him in the 6th. The Royals ended up winning that game 5-2, and Zach finished the year with a sterling 2-15 record for the Royals.
What was his ERA?
So he was like 5.1, something like that. So a lot of talk that this might be it for Zach. You know, I did. They weren't sure, but I did notice when he was walking out the field, he had the baseball and he tucked it in his back pocket as he's going into the dugout. So to me, that was kind of a sign that maybe he might be done. But I know we mentioned a while back that he's like the top 5 in all time in strikeouts in his career, which you wouldn't expect. But you know, props to Zach. You know, early in his career, he wanted out because he didn't think Kansas City could win a championship, and based on what the Royals got back for him in a trade and others, that gave him a base to win a championship. And then
he came back.
He came back to finish his career in Kansas City and be a mentor to some of the younger guys. So props to Zach. And if this is his last go around the sun on the baseball diamond, you know, you did well. And I think you'll be a Hall of Famer. And hopefully people will see past his record, because the 2-15 record is going to taint his overall record.
I think people have realized that win-loss is not a good.
It's not
a good metric anymore.
Yeah, so I agree with you.
So
especially
DeGrom won the Cy Young, he had like 6 wins, but he had like a 1.8 ERA that 1 year. So I think people are kind of like, yeah, well, records don't really mean nothing. So
that's true.
Maybe back in the day when all the games were like 2-1 or 1-0, but now we're fucking all these guys hitting like 50,000 homers a year. I mean,
and really for what Zach throws nowadays, you know, he doesn't have the speed on his fastball. He's more of a crafty pitcher, as they say. You know, low 5 ERA is really not too bad.
Well, that's what the great pitchers all become, crafty, because once you can't throw 100 anymore, you gotta maneuver it.
You gotta move it. Yep.
That's why Verlander's still getting paid a lot of money.
Gotta work the zone, baby.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that's what she said.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was an episode of Fast Intentions.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Where can they find us on all the socials, Nathan?
I don't know. I'm joking. You can find us on Spotify. You can rate us 5 stars, and you can leave a comment. Stop laughing over there. It wasn't that dramatic. You big drama queen over there. And then we're on whatever, queen. Then you can find us on Twitter at FIntentionsPod. You can see my dad post really cringy things on there, and so you can go ahead and follow it. Maybe I'll go in there and delete his tweets or something, but that's okay. And then we're also on Google Playlist Podcasts, I believe. We're on Amazon Podcasts. You can listen to us there. Mm-hmm. But the main thing is we want you to rate it, give us a good review, hopefully. Yeah. Or even if you give us a bad review, let us know why. Mm-hmm. Let us know what you want us to improve on. We do
have 10 5-star ratings, so we appreciate those people.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah.
We're trying to catch up to all the other wonderful podcasts in the world and all their viewers and listeners. So, like I said, hopefully going forward we'll have this consistent schedule, and then that means the quality will be better. Yeah, because I think if we record, sorry to cut you off,
no,
but I feel like if we record more often and do it more consistently, then maybe we'll kind of get into a better groove, as opposed to, oh, well, I got to do this day, now I got to do this, and then we don't record for 6 weeks, and then we kind of got to get back in the groove of it again. So,
well, it's tough when you don't have a consistent schedule. You know, you work days and nights, and then me, I just never really know what time I'm going to get done just because I'm on overtime. So it depends on who shows up and who doesn't. So how much I have to do or how much I don't have to do. So
yeah. Well, it was great recording the episode. I had a good time, and hopefully you guys did too.
Yeah, and this will be up in a couple of days. We'll have to decide what a regular day to release our pod will be. We'll have to probably be Wednesday or Thursday. We'll have to figure that out going forward, and
Well,
we'll let you know.
Well, I don't think so. I think I can get it out pretty quick if I do it a Monday night or Tuesday.
Well, we want to make sure because we want it to release on the same day every week too, though. So I don't want you to, try to give yourself a tight window and then not be able to meet it. So.
Well, I'm not hitting any windows right now, so we'll see. I'm tired tonight. Is that why I'm coming out tonight?